ningependa kukuona, nikwambie vile nimeshinda, nikueleze yalo moyoni. Kuna vile natamani kuwa nawe, uwe karibu nami, niwe karibu nawe. But you are far away, so far away, so far from me. Roho yaumia. Roho yaumia. I am missing my baby. Kuna vile ningependa tuongee every morning and every night, nikueleze ninavyohisi. Oh yeah. Kuna vile natamani unishike, uniambie matamu ya roho, ili mimi nitabasamu. That you are far away, so far away, so far from me. Roho yaumia. I am missing my baby. Roho yaumia. I am missing my baby. Oh, my baby, I need you right here. Oh, my baby, nakuhitaji. Oh, my baby,
Wagwan.
I need you right.
Good afternoon.
Oh, my baby,
Grand Rising.
nakuhitaji. But you are far away,
7 minutes past the top of the hour. Happy Friday.
far from me.
Hope your week has been amazing, fantastic,
Yaumia.
healthy, productive.
Missing my baby. Roho yaumia. I am missing my baby. Roho yaumia. I am missing my baby. Roho yaumia. I am missing my baby.
Yes, everything is another episode of the Pan African Bliss. This is the media of the 21st century, Black Hot Fire Network. And of course, hope your week has been fantastic. Wishing you a beautiful weekend ahead as we literally usher into the weekend. It's literally, we made it to the end of the weekend. I hope you're feeling great. Hope yours has been amazing, fantastic, productive, and wishing you a beautiful day. Karibuni, as today we talk about how Kenya is the new actually warlord. And I don't know if I've really used the right frame or the right name, but we're going to be discussing about that, looking at how our countries are literally signing deals that are putting us in very much great danger. And so much has been happening, of which I think we discussed about it since Wednesday, looking at how Kenya is one of the countries that is opening doors to people who are linked to, most of the so-called terrorism and killings of civilians in the name of resources in countries like Sudan, DRC, the M23. We've seen that actually Kenya is ushering these people into our country, and which is bringing a lot of questions. Yesterday we had the reading of the finance bill, so of course we're going to be looking at that as we also cover that particular story and what Kenya is preparing itself for, because as we're going to be looking at the video, the finance bill was really yesterday very high securited, and I think the fear comes in, of course, because of the 2024 demonstrations that led so many young people die for just saying that you don't need to hike up the taxes, because at the end of the day you don't even show us where our taxes are going, where this money is being, what it has accounted for. You have to keep on borrowing trillions of cash and you never show any accountability. So we're going to be discussing about that, and also looking at because recently we had Kenya change, America changing its ambassador, the US ambassador in the 254. And this is they put in Henry Wooster. And I think I said I'm gonna discuss about that, but I didn't. But the conversation of today actually links him on what currently Kenya is doing, or the possibility of Kenya being in a critical conditions when it comes to war. But of course, we're going to be discussing about other things as we continue. But to get yourself some supplements we have which can boost your health in different ways. And you can do that by kindly downloading our app on the Google Play Store. In case we don't see, if you don't see us on the weekend right here, you can catch up the shows, of course, on a replay. They are always on Amazon TV, loaded up, of course, on YouTube, on Beetroot as well. All our shows are there, specifically mine, Kamlesh, and yeah, we have the Africa Today show as well. So ensure you catch up with the conversations we always have here. They're really, really educative, and you get to stay on the know of what is happening globally, not just within Africa. But for today, I'm going to share some beetroot, and yeah, stay healthy. This weekend, try take a lot of fruits. Try, especially, don't buy fruits outside and blended juice. That is one thing personally I've really completely stopped. I'd rather buy fruits and blend them in my house, because I believe the taste is just way different and so natural, and it made my way. So I don't have to feel, and I don't have to spend much the same way how I buy fruit. It's actually cheaper. But yeah, grab some
Beetroot,
beetroot.
nature's powerhouse, packed with vitamins, antioxidants and nitrates. It's known to support heart health, boost stamina and improve blood circulation. Our beetroot is naturally grown and harvested at peak ripeness. The roots are cleaned, dried and finely ground to preserve their rich nutrition content, giving you all the benefits in one pure form. Add 1 teaspoon of beetroot powder to your juice, smoothie or water, or take it in capsule form as recommended by your healthcare provider. Beetroot helps enhance endurance, lower blood pressure, and keep you feeling energized and balanced all day. Fuel your body with the natural power of beetroot. Stay strong, stay healthy. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
That just to also give an understanding of when we focus on many other things, when we're so distracted by the weapons used upon us, like media, entertainment. The World Cup started yesterday, and trust me, so many people's concentration is going to shift, especially for the soccer suckers, for the people who love soccer so bad. The World Cup started yesterday, and we had a match that is between Mexico and playing against South Africa. And many Africans actually traveled all the way from their countries, like Nigeria, Kenyans, most of the people, especially Ghanaians, who have been affected by this xenophobic behavior of South Africans not wanting to hold their government accountable, because that's specifically actually my point about this video, where you refuse to hold your government accountable and you start attacking other people, blaming them for them trying to actually contribute in your economy and creating something that you failed to create in your own country. But there's someone to blame and not the Africans. So yesterday, most of them, they traveled all the way to just go hate watch South Africa, and sadly they lost. So this has also sparked so much at this celebration in different, because of how South Africans have just been treating other people. So Africans are like, let's support Mexicans, Mexico because it won instead of South Africa. But this guy is talking about something important, and I think we talked about this some time ago, where I bumped into a video, and this lady was talking about how Africans shift their mind and stop praying the moment they get in America or Europe, right? Because everything you've been praying for is there, provided by the government. The institution is they're working, things are working super quick. Unlike Africa, we have the budget's being set aside, a lot of taxes being collected. There's nothing being done. No hospitals, no roads. Our cars are all imported and they're all shitty. It's super crazy. So he's talking about how he stopped praying. And this is going to actually, again, make a compilation of what we're talking about. Because when you're busy praying, asking God to help you, these other people are busy killing us in different ways, signing deals to benefit themselves and their family, but killing us.
Since I came to America, I no longer pray for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. What am I praying for? The things I used to pray back home in Africa for God to provide for me. I came to Yankee and saw that the government and the system have already provided those things for people. So now, why do I need to pray for 1 hour to be disturbing my God? No way. I cannot disturb my God. I will not disturb my God. Many of us here in diaspora are living the prayer points of people back home in Africa. This content is not to bring people back home down. No. This content is to let those of you back home in Africa know how well you have been shortchanged by your politicians back home in Africa. I could remember when I was back home in Nigeria those days after I graduated. I would pray 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
It's crazy because this is the reality of many Africans. And I, looking at the comments, shout out to one guy who is an artist in the 254. He says, shout out to Joakali, he says, many people are living in the darkness and they'll never understand this clip. Once you are awakened, you will literally understand what is happening in your world or around your country. Because if you look at, there's that, and other people are like quoting now the Bible, Hosea chapter this, or Paul chapter this, and
is fasting to get jobs. And I came to Yankee and realized that I was wasting my time back home in Nigeria praying for some things. First of all, we pray to get jobs back home in Africa. And those jobs are not really there. So many
because there's none created. A lot of squandering of money, no creation of jobs. Exactly.
of us were praying for jobs that were not available. And the few jobs that were available were given to people with connections in government.
Didn't I say so? Connection is always the term in Africa. I keep on saying this. If you don't have a connection, it's gonna be very hard for you to maneuver in Africa. You need to know someone who knows someone in different spaces. Lucky you if maybe, I don't know, just lucky you if you're lucky to just get a job, by you just showcasing your talent. I'd say a good example is like the content creators, maybe. You can get a job by you showcasing you love cooking, and you might end up being hired somewhere in a hotel, become the main chef of all the meals that are supposed to be prepared in that, but it's very rare in Africa for you to get anything without connections.
Imagine a country like Nigeria now. When there is employment, government gives some slots to ward chairmen, to politicians to share to their followers. Why the graduates, the skilled people who are really qualified for those jobs, are languishing on the streets without jobs.
Exactly.
See, who never travel abroad, not well. Who never travel, not well. Because if you are back home in Africa, you just think the way you are living life there back home, that is how people are living their lives elsewhere. No. Travel. If you want to know how well your politicians are deceiving you back home, get a visa.
It's hard. That's the problem. Getting a visa is so expensive. And I don't need to travel the rest of the world for me to see. Of course, exposure is nice, but the question should go back, why aren't we holding them accountable? For how long are we going to keep on running, making these videos now where you are, why people are there scrambling your land,
Travel to a developed country and see how even dogs have rights. Oh, Baba. Thank God for life. And for those of you in Nigeria, you have two options.
Excuse me.
Unite, stand, and fight for good governance, or process a visa and travel abroad.
It's only you fight, unite and fight. That's the only way. Someone says on the comments, this is very interesting. Many people in Africa and other developing countries spend a lot of time praying and hoping for change. Yet poverty remains widespread. And meanwhile, countries like Japan, China are among the least religious societies in the world, but they have achieved remarkable economic growth and development. At some point, we have to ask whether the progress comes more from hope and prayer alone or from education, innovation, discipline, and effective institutions. Exactly. There are people who say that prayer, there's someone else in the comment section say prayer creates intimacy with God and exalting his name. And how has that helped you get out of poverty? Those are the things we're talking about. Because I've seen these videos now, many Africans making them, those who have traveled the world, and they're talking about how when you go in these countries, you literally you forget about praying completely. That it evaporates your mind because what you've been asking is all there, and simply its institutions are working. I mean, not so good, but way better than Africa. Way better. Another person says, come to think of it, if ever since you were born, God already knew every single outcome of your life. That means prayers change nothing since you cannot change the will of God. Someone says this guy is making a lot of sense though the government should work to provide the basics so that we spend more time with God and fellowship him instead of asking. This is just crazy. The mentality, people wanna defend the religion so bad. You wanna speak your mind how prayer is not helping you, but at the same time you're wrapped around it so bad. Another person says, out of 200 million Nigerians, God chose you among the many to improve your living standards. This is just crazy. Another person says the mindset. Once you colonize a people's mind, you basically have the power to enter generations. In my opinion, religion is just a man-made construct limiting us with fears of judgment, exactly, and hell. Just be good, be kind to all, simple. No one knows new shit, so we made that stuff up along the way. Religion is just a scam, and that is just simply it. And to look at what he's saying. So this is Kenya, and not just Kenya, but because many African countries are making these similar deals with these Western countries, literally. They're making deals that are putting us, the majority, in danger. I'm going to share this and continue.
Does the average Kenyan understand what this really means? Iran blue weather radar system in the Middle East that was set up by this said country, and they are experiencing the best weather conditions they've had in years. And yet, our so-called leaders are getting in bed with the same people who caused droughts and famines in the Middle East. This is really not okay, and it's surprising that many people are not talking about it. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know your answers in the comment section.
My lovely people, not every weather occurrence that happens naturally. You remember the other day when Iran, Israeli, and the US were fighting? Iran hit some weather radars and it started raining. It never rained in that region for so many years, but after hitting that weather radar, it started raining. Let me tell you, a lot of weather patterns, some things that you call naturally occurring, they are not actually naturally occurring. They're human made to occur. Let me give you an example. You know of Maui fires? That was not natural. That was a man-made fire. The earthquakes that happened in Turkey, those two were not natural. They were man-made. I'm not going to mention those exact machines that actually can cause earthquake. Now, Kenya is at the center of so many things happening in the world right now. And just the other day, we got some lovely presents from Israel. There's a lot of interest in this country from Israel, and they're willing to donate everything. And they've also bought some 500 acres of land in Nakuru. Think. And they're now donating things to us, things that we do not need. And there is this news all over the place that we are likely to experience some El Nino from June to August. Think, guys, think. Not every weather pattern occurs naturally. Oh, and before I forget, they have brought some American ambassador in Kenya, an ambassador who is taken to every country where there's about to be a crisis.
And
Check
that
his record in Haiti, check his record in Jordan. Crisis.
So this is Henry, that is the new Kenya US ambassador, the veteran diplomat Henry Wooster. I think that's the same name. The guy, I'm gonna cue his videos, which I've queued here, how people have demonstrated because of him. This is crazy.
Crisis. Listen to this video.
Mvua kubwa kuliko kawaida zinatarajiwa kunyesha katika miezi ijayo nchini Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti na Sudan Kusini. Shirika la hali ya hewa duniani WMO limesema. Kwa mujibu wa shirika hilo, hali hiyo inahusika.
So the video speaks about how East Africa is expected to be hit by El Nino. We're going to be facing massive floods, and we've seen, of course, we've been facing massive floods. And even the recent one, I can see some people are saying this was not normal, but we've been facing floods. What solution has been brought since we've been seeing how lives are being lost due to lack of proper water irrigation? None.
Na kuanza kujitokeza kwa El Nino katika bahari ya Pacific ambayo ina uwezekano wa 80% kutokea kati ya mwezi Juni na Agosti mwaka huu. Wataalamu wanaonya kuwa El Nino inaweza kuongeza joto duniani pamoja na kusababisha mafuriko, maporomoko ya ardhi na uharibifu wa mazao na miundombinu katika maeneo mbalimbali ya Afrika Mashariki. WMO pia imesema kuna uwezekano mkubwa hali hiyo ikaendelea hadi mwisho wa mwaka, huku baadhi ya maeneo mengine duniani yakitarajiwa kukumbwa na ukame na joto kali zaidi. Je, unadhania nchi za Afrika Mashariki zimejiandaa vya kutosha kukabiliana na mvua kubwa na mafuriko yanayoweza kutokea? Tupe maoni yako hapo chini.
Of course we're not ready, because she's asking if Africa is ready to tackle this kind of flood. We're not ready. We're not. And this is not, of course, normal. It's not normal. So let's look at this guy, the new ambassador of America. Let's look at his cases.
The USA President Donald Trump has nominated Henry Wooster as the next United States ambassador to Kenya. The nomination was formally sent to the US Senate in June 2nd, 2026, and awaits Senate confirmation before he can take up the post in Nairobi. Now, Henry Wooster is a career diplomat with more than 3 decades in diplomatic and military experience. He previously served as a US ambassador in Jordan, and he has held senior positions involving US foreign policies in Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia.
This was demonstration, I think, in Haiti, literally.
Wow, Americans will finish us. As we speak, Donald Trump has appointed Henry Wooster as the US ambassador to Kenya. In case you don't know him, here's Mr. Wooster. Now, in this video, I want us to look at some of the reasons why Donald J. Trump has appointed Mr. Wooster as the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, because the timing of it all seems very suspicious if you ask me, but be that as it may, with no further ado, let's get after it. Number one, Henry Wooster is a doomsday ambassador. I say this because anywhere he goes, chaos follows. Already, he's served as the U.S. acting ambassador to Haiti. He's also served as the U.S. acting...
You can see what is happening in Haiti, right? You can see how Haiti... Okay.
ambassador to Jordan. And guess what? By the time he left Haiti, this is what it looked like.
See? You see that? Man, I can't believe this is my country. Literally can't believe this is Kenya. That all these things are really happening. And where we're about to head if we don't fight, we're about to look way worse.
And by the time he left Jordan, this is what it looked like.
The USA President Donald
Wah, Americans will finish us. Wah, Americans will finish us. As all public gathering terms. So the question I'm asking myself is this. By the time Mr. Wooster leaves Kenya, what will Kenya look like? I can tell you what our society will look like as early as now. We'll be used to Ebola outbreaks by then. Handshakes and hugs will be a thing of the past. Homeschooling will become common. All public gatherings will be done away with. Kwa hivyo hata wajinga wachache tuko nao bunge ya wananchi ambao wanashinda wakituambia 2 term. Hiyo bunge itafungwa because of quarantine. If there is a way you're making a shilling out of that bunge ya wananchi by kusema 2 terms, sijui Raymond Omolo Oye, you'll be disbanded because of Ebola outbreaks. Now kila mtu aende kona yake, Omosh 1 hour huko na kamera yake, mwingine sijui anaitwa Kimbikimbi, sijui nani mwingine huko.
They will create fake pandemics. There won't be no fake pandemics.
So hata nyinyi mtakuwa affected. So
and maybe coming up with other more diseases.
So start thinking progressively. Si kila kitu ni kuweka 2 term. Vitu zingine tumia akili na ufikirie kidogo tu for the sake of the country. Even the pastors who are working hand in hand with this government. Utafanya aje hiyo kesha yako? Sijui crusade. How will you do a crusade in Uhuru Park when there is Ebola? Sasa hiyo umejipanga vile utasanya sadaka ya sijui 4 or what million. You will not collect that money. You will not hold that crusade. If you are an artist who you live through concerts and cameos at high schools and all these other universities and so on, that will be a thing of the past. You cannot make money without people. Let's not behave like everybody is a content creator. Kila mtu atakaa na kamera na afanye kazi nyumbani. No, there are services which need people. If you have a restaurant, you need to serve people. If you are an artist, you need to perform in front of people. So watu wote, rest assured, by the time Mr. Wooster is leaving this country, we have seen what he leaves behind. Debris and dust. So too shall it be with Kenya if we don't reject this ambassador. And by the way, we have the ability to reject him. And if you think I'm kidding, just check out this piece. Refusing a new ambassador. Before an ambassador is officially assigned, the sending country must seek the approval or agreement of the receiving country. The process is that the host country has the right to refuse the proposed person without needing to provide any reason or explanation. Then we have something we call quiet rejection. Now, because of this rule, receiving nations normally signal their objections privately during the early vetting phase. If the host country indicates that they will not accept the candidate, the sending nation simply withdraws the nomination to avoid a public humiliation. So we have all the diplomatic rights to reject Mr. Wooster because of his bad track records with faith.
Should be done by the people we have appointed. Of course, we have the right to do public participation on what we don't want in our country. But this should be done by these pigs that we've elected. Literally. They should be the ones doing their job. But they won't. They won't.
Healing countries. Because let me ask you a question. If kuna msichana ambaye she's showing interest in you and you're looking at her past, her dating history, she has dated 2 people before you. Wa kwanza alikuwa chokora, anasanya vikombe hapo nje ya barabara. Wa pili alikuwa mtu wa kuenda akiokota chuma malimali, anaenda kuuza huko, inauzwa 50 bob per kg. Now they have come to you. What does that tell you? Huyu msichana anakuona wewe ni ligi yake. Wewe ni ligi ya chokora. We as a country are not in the league of Haiti and Jordan. Please. Kama huyu ndo ambassador mnaona mutatupea sababu hiyo ndo class yake. We as Kenyans have rejected. Hiyo tumekataa kabisa and we have the diplomatic rights to refuse. Na kama watakataa tutaifanyia maandamano. And we don't
demonstration in Haiti.
Et puisque nous
Wah, American.
Breaking news. President Donald Trump has decided to give us Henry Oster to be the ambassador in Kenya. Mnamjua huyo mjamaa? Alikuwa ambassador pale Haiti. Na unajua Haiti kulifanyika nini after ameondoka huko?
It's about the resources, because this is what is happening in Kenya. It's about the resources. Ruto is positioning himself to give away our resources so he can come back as a president.
Is Kenya preparing for war? If there was ever a moment when many Kenyans began asking whether the country was gearing up for a possible conflict, it is during the 2026-2027 budget. The government has significantly increased funding to key security agencies pushing national security spending to its highest level in recent years.
13 billion together for leasing of police motor vehicles, 7 billion for police modernization program.
While presenting the 2026-2027 budget in Parliament, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi announced that the national security sector has been allocated 591.2 billion Kenyan shillings. That is a sharp increase from the 464.9 billion Kenyan shillings allocated in the 2025-2026 financial year and the 377.5 billion shillings set aside in 2024.
See, always using religion.
So who is Kenya preparing to fight? Here is our report. It wasn't business as usual in Nairobi as Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi arrived at the National Assembly this Thursday, June 11th.
The Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, Honorable FCPA John Mbadi, EGH, you may now proceed with your afternoon job.
Flanked by a high security entourage, CS Mbadi carried what is arguably the most talked about, scrutinized, and precious item in the country this week. And that is the official budget briefcase. Inside that small, iconic black leather case lies the entire financial blueprint for the nation, detailing exactly how the government intends to...
What's up?
What? No cable sauna, none of that shit.
Karibu sana. What's up?
None of that shit. None of that cable sauna shit. None of that cable sauna shit. What's up?
Karibu sana. And what's up?
Oh, you caught me off guard. Getting about as rude as African Americans. What's that? No. And that cable silent shit. Caribou. Oh shit. No. I'm saying. Yeah. The weather weapons are being exposed, like people said. These are all conspiracy theories, because you're not supposed to know that they control weather and cause droughts in people's countries, because they're evil. You know, shout out to Iran who blew up this damn satellite shit around the country, because they purposely put Iran in drought so they couldn't feed themselves. Iranians didn't know that. Of course, they kind of thought of it, but when they blew up these weather weapons, they didn't know they were weather weapons, that they were blowing the fuck up. Well, all of a sudden, it started raining. It had like 20 years of drought. All of a sudden, they got massive rain because these evil, wicked motherfuckers. Out to the Russians, that Russian guy trying to shoot you motherfuckers have always been wicked and evil. And when you're gone, and you're talking about your goofy big values. I love it. So you got Israel coming to Africa. Africa's rich with resources. So is Kenya. Always has been. All African countries. All of them are wealthy. Should be nobody poor in fucking Africa. But they keep the Africans stupid with these goofy religions and put these fucking puppets in there who don't create any value. They keep everything underdeveloped where shit don't work. Common shit don't work. I bought a goddamn passport for Joby and Chris and Katie. Took a year to get a goddamn passport back. A year. When that shit should take a week. Maybe 3 days in America. Took a year. So people are living in countries that don't work. Most of them are too stupid. Everybody got stupid that don't even know their countries don't fucking work. But they're always praying, and the prayers don't ever get answered because the religions are phony. They're fake. They keep praying Africans. And imagine you ask yourself, everybody knows this is a fact. The African country is the most praying in the world, and they're the most poorest in the country now. I mean, in the world. They're the most poorest, backward, fucked up countries on the planet. shit don't work. Nothing don't work. Like Joe, we got the guy, Asian guy saying, well, how does Japan and China don't work and they don't believe in your fake Jesus or your fake Allah? Because they know the shit is phony. That's why. Why they killed you when the white man came to bring them that bullshit. We're not about to worship you, because at that time, remember, when white people brought those religions to them, white people were the savages. They were less developed than Japan and China. So why the fuck I'm going to be worshiping your ass and you're less developed than me? What sense does that even make? So they couldn't run that scam on them. They get shot in the head until the Europeans surpassed them in military technology. But they still didn't take on their religion. Said, nah, we're not. Yeah, you guys with the military finally, but I'm not going to worship your religions. That's not going to happen. We're going to figure out what you did. We're going to reverse engineer it. What the Japanese did, the Chinese did it. And we're going to start dominating. We're not going to just allow you to. And what's funny about this happening now, I keep telling you, America's cooked, guys. I told you this for years because I was in the military. America's at the point where the leadership are all, and everybody knows, I love the rest of it. The leadership of America are morons. Donald Trump couldn't get elected the dog catcher 30 years ago because the country still worked a little bit. Everybody wasn't stupid. But the country's got so stupid the last 35, 40 years, that's why you can elect a moron like this. Donald Trump can never get close to the White House back in 1980 or something, Reagan. It's no way possible. But the country's so disintegrated with the elite, and everybody's fucking imbeciles. Our military imbeciles, our colleges, everybody's an imbecile. So you can't keep a dominant power controlled by imbeciles. And see what they did, when they realized when they were destroying themselves, which is stupid, and I love it, because you look at the end of white supremacy, guys. So it might be wars because they're going to go kicking and screaming because they're savages. They're not ruling because they rather blow it up. Shout out to Dr. Dr. Johnny Cook told you. He'd rather blow the world up if he can't rule it. He'd rather blow it up. That's why all these wars are happening now, right? So, because they can't win. These morons gave all their manufacturing to China. So we can't build weapons systems. And the system is so corrupt. There's so much graft behind it. So now they can't, but you remember, because they're savage, they like to rob and steal, so they can't really project power and just come and like slap Joby in the face, give me your house. And white people say, give me all your shit. They can't really project power anymore because they destroyed their manufacturing base and got morons who are here and that can't really develop it again. They gave it all to China. And now these morons can't build weapons to fight China, fight Iran, fight anybody. They can't build them. so all this shit you hear Trump talking, I'm going to bomb you, I'm going to kill you, all that shit. That's how they used to think when they could do it. But they can't, they don't got the capability. So that's a show I'm going to do. We don't have the capacity, right? We don't have the capacity we don't have the capacity to do it, and we don't have the reach, right? What's the word I'm looking for? Capacity and damn, starts with a C. It's on the tip of my tongue. Okay? But we don't got the capability or the capacity. We don't got enough white people who want to die. You got the capacity, and you don't got the capability. You don't have enough manufacturing throughout America. You hollow it out. You hollow out your own industrial bank, you white morons. You hollow out your own power for cheap labor to China. So you hollow out what made you a power to begin with. So you don't have the capability, right? What's the capability or the reach? So they don't got enough people to fight these wars because white people are dying. They're all fucked up. They're all fat. You see America? Because they also destroyed America with all the GMOs. See, so they brought in GMOs. Everybody's all fat and fucked up. You won't find fat people in America 40 years ago. And everybody around this bitch is fat because they evil. They wanted to make moves off of GMO foods. Everybody's unhealthy. How are all these unhealthy motherfuckers going to fight wars? Right? So you don't have the capacity. So you have capacity and capability. So you don't have the capacity because you don't have enough men to go fight your wars on the ground because everybody's all fat and fucked up and stupid. You don't got the capability because you hollowed yourself out militarily. See, but that's how an empire that's in decline is supposed to pretend. You ain't supposed to try to start no wars about it because you're supposed to let them believe you can still fight it, stupid. Because America had the image of being powerful, even though it's not anymore. It had the image. So you're not supposed to destroy the image knowing that you can't really fight no more. You don't got the capability or the capacity. You're supposed to let people believe the shit, stupid, because you create the propaganda. But you going against Iran and Iran now fucking you up. People like, oh, these motherfuckers are not as powerful as we thought they were. And that's what China's doing, because China was never going to fight a war because China was still scared. You morons. And China admitted we were still scared. America was going to fuck us up. That's why we didn't do no wars. Right? We were going to fight America on that because we thought the capability and the capacity was still the same. And it's not. The rare earth minerals all come out of Africa, but who controls those? The Africans don't. The Chinese do. So Chinese have now cut you up the rare earth minerals that makes what? Weapons. So why do you think now the Americans went around Kenya and all these other places talking about this fake Ebola? Because they're trying to get minerals for money and to make weapons. But sad on them, they still have the capacity, right, to make them. Because we've been hollowed out. Industrially, we've been hollowed out. So you know how long it takes to put up industries? It's about 20, 30, 40 years. That's how long it took China. Remember, like I showed Joby? China was impoverished. All these Asians. When these Asians get to talking shit to you, these fucking backward, slope-head motherfuckers, all in poverty, sucking their own ass because they didn't have no food. Africa was feeding their ass. I've been knew that. Africa fed. The Africans don't know because the Africans are kept stupid with the school fees and not knowing shit. When the Asians come and talk crazy Africans have no clue that they were feeding their ass. They don't even know that. When these Asians get talking crazy to them. So the sad thing now, Africans are gonna, because I seen Joey said that with the goofy Nigerian, he didn't want to fight nothing. Talk about how people gonna travel there and got no money. He sounds stupid. Old Bitter sounds stupid. You know, get your visa and travel. How poor people gonna get visas and travel? What are you talking about? Who's gonna let them in the country? And anyway, they're gonna ship your ass out of here. They're gonna get you up out of here anyway in America. So you're not safe, Nigeria. You're going back to Nigeria. Where these white people, they getting you up out of here. So you going back to Nigeria, moron, and have to fix your goofy country that you didn't want to fix. So, because if you guys didn't know, if you guys see what's happening in England where they burnt, and I want to tell Joe, you guys seen how they burnt those people up in Dublin and in the UK? There's a bunch of people came and started burning them Ugandan people up in Uganda. But I told you wasn't gonna say shit. Fucking Captain Crunch and Museveni. They don't got no military, not no real military. They can fight their people, but they don't keep their fucking mouth shut when white people burning up their people. They're not gonna say a goddamn thing. Let you know that Africa doesn't have any real military. Almost building a real military is the Sahel states. Even Torre. Africa don't have no all that old ass, raw ass bullshit equipment. They get that secondhand clothes. You know that old secondhand shit. But you see, and it was a bunch of Ugandans. They burnt their ass up in their building up in England, up in the UK. It was Ireland. You know, the UK is fucking Ireland too. They burnt these niggas up in this fucking school. White people just burnt their ass up. But they were Ugandans. Have you heard Museveni and Captain Crunch open their motherfucking mouths? No, and they're not. So I told you, when you like understand these goofy African leaders talk, goofy dictator, I'm gonna do this. Shut the fuck up. Everybody knows you're weak and you're a moron. You don't have no real military. That's why they can just burn up Africans and nobody say shit. And these were Ugandans. These are your own citizens. You're supposed to say this is an act of war. Your people just openly burnt my people up in a fucking house. You hear Museveni say a damn word? No. He knows he don't got no real military. You know he's a puppet. You think, where's Captain Crunch at to make one of, like Joe? Where's Captain Crunch with one of his texts, one of his Twitter tweets? Where's that at? Because they burnt his people up. Burnt their ass up and talk shit about it. Burning these niggas up. They in the street, get these niggas out of here, burn their ass up. Where is Captain Crunch? Captain Crunch, I'm looking for you, Captain. For 70, they burned your people up and said it was you. I don't hear you saying nothing. See, this is what I'm talking about, African people. You're gonna have to have a revolution. Your leaders do not represent you. You're praying, all you're going to Jesus shit don't work. Because you're gonna pray for these Ugandans who got burnt the fuck up. It ain't shit gonna change because your leaders are puppets and fake and phony. They just been robbing. They've been looting the country. They've been getting money for just being there for white people. Captain Crunch, no, he doesn't have a real military. He'll talk crazy to Africans, but as soon as some shit happens with white people, Captain Crunch will shut the fuck up because he knows he better keep his fucking mouth shut. That's what he's doing. Go ahead, Joby.
Generate revenue and where every single shilling will be spent.
Mr. Speaker, it is my honor and privilege to present to this August House and to the people of Kenya the budget statement for the financial year.
And pause 2026. Shout out to Dr. Mumby. I give her credit. I know she gets talking crazy sometimes. So read the budget. Who wrote it? You know none of these niggas wrote, just like you know they didn't write 2024, because these morons didn't know what was in it. White people are writing these budgets. And just like Dr. Mum said, who wrote the budget? Read it. None of these bootlicking niggas wrote any of these budgets in Kenya or any of these African countries. This is copy and paste. Because you got to ask, how can Africa's wealthy, guys? It's wealthy. Why are all these African countries poor? And shit don't work. And underdeveloped. As Joey said, critically think what the fuck is going on. But they make the Joe. I know Joe thinking she knows Joe thinks critical thinking is normal. It's not. You got to be taught how to critically think. That's why they want to get your school fees. Don't have you go to school. Critical thinking is not. To me, you're not born with it. Joby says, "Yeah, I disagree." You got to be taught to critically think. To me, because it looks like most Americans are now morons too. You talk about not the Americans. If you look at the thing about one of the dumbest countries, America's one of the dumbest countries now. One of the smart motherfuckers are dumb as fuck. And why you get a Trump and a Camilla. Camilla, they all we're stupid. But see, they can write these bills because they know. But see, they got a problem with Kenyans because of the former president Kibaki. He kind of fucked up the program because the Kenyans, to me, right now, the smartest Africans in Africa, hands down, hands down. And I'm not even trying to be biased because I'm doing shit in Africa because I'm honest and evaluate things. But the Kenyans, they're not free as Burkina Faso waking up, but they're not. Burkina Faso still not as smart as the Kenyans. And that's why the Kenyans know that this budget that they're talking about wasn't written by none of these bootlicking niggas. They know their country's been captured now. They know it. I ain't got to tell them no more. They used to be Africans. You know these Negroes you see on TV, they don't run shit. They used to argue with me. What do you mean he's the president? They're not. That's an image. You believe they're presidents. They're not. You don't run shit but their mouths. White people run your countries. It's just not, you just don't see them behind the scenes. Like a puppet. You don't know who's pulling the puppet strings. And so these bills, and that's why all these Jews, everybody, why do you think all these Jews now coming to Kenya? You think that's an accident? All of a sudden they want all this land that they got in South Africa. You think that's an accident? You think they don't got Kenya on the chopping block to chop it back up? Steal all the money, keep the niggas impoverished? You don't know that and keep these bootlicking handkerchief head niggas as fake politicians?
7.
Go ahead, Joby.
The Treasury CS unveiled a massive 0.24 to 4.29 trillion Kenyan shillings gross expenditure plan. Now, this budget firmly anchors the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda, taking direct aim at job creation, food security, healthcare, and housing.
And I want to turn to Education.
And the thing about
Yes.
Africa, these morons are so corrupt. From Kenya to Nigeria, they're so bad. They're so bad. They're so bad. I mean, I think the African, even though we know white people are evil, I think the Africans are more evil because they haven't even just like built nothing. The Africans are more evil, and the people should kill them. Be honest. These African politicians shouldn't be jailed. They should be murdered because they've done such a disservice to African people sitting on the richest continent on the planet. They should be murdered. I really say that. They're evil. Because how can you go past a Cabela? Because they know their countries are rich. No way these morons, some may not know, but no way the top don't know how rich Kenya is, Nigeria is. No way they don't know. No way. Because you can't be sucking white daddy's dick without knowing, what kind of Vaseline you're putting on it. So they know that Kenya's wealthy, but they do it anyway. Right? They have Africans living impoverished and don't give a fuck. There's no motherfuckers shitting outside, don't have running water, don't have bathrooms, just common stuff. Where you have black people praying in goofy churches just so they can use the bathroom, right? Like I told you, the poverty in Africa is inhumane. It shocks the mind. That's why these motherfuckers are evil. You should at least give the African, you can steal, we get everybody, but you should at least give them the basic service. Because that's why the South Africans are bragging. We at least got basic services here, even though they're impoverished. Our country at least got basic services when yours don't. Go ahead, Joby.
Outcomes.
As expected, education walked away with the lion's share of the pie, swallowing roughly 16.4% of the budget at a staggering 702.7 billion shillings, a massive boost that includes funding for the Teachers Service Commission.
Mr. Speaker, Kenya's future depends on developing strong human capital. And to this end, we will continue to strengthen quality learning, training and research, promote equity and inclusivity, scale up investment in education, fortify the system against emerging technological and labor market shift, as well as fortify education to industry linkages, thus ensuring skills match demand. Mr. Speaker, I propose 784.5 billion for the education sector.
Funding sheet, they have removed literally the funding of free system of education. So I don't know, this is crazy.
Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said about defunding education. But in 2026-27, we are proposing 784.5 billion shillings, which is 26.4% of the ministerial budgets. Compare that to 2021-2022 budget before this administration came into office. The budget for education was 526 billion shillings. That has increased now by 49%. And it was 24.5%.
And let me say something, pause it for a second. This is not shameless. Joby told you this is 2026. Joby said there's schools in Kenya where people sit out in trees, under trees, to do schooling in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what? What are you talking about? Are you insane? Yeah. It's how the evilness of these motherfuckers here. And it's not just Kenya. I'm sure Uganda's got to be worse. 10 times worse. The shit's unconscionable.
0.5% of the municipal budget. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is not correct that this government, this administration is defunding education. In fact, we are funding it more.
It is defunding.
However, the talking point dominating conversations across the country tonight isn't education. It is the staggering amount of money being pumped into national security. The government has allocated a massive 591 billion shillings, equivalent to about 4.2 billion US dollars, to be split across defense, the police, and intelligence.
Now, improving security, which is of concern to all of us. Mr. Speaker, a safe and stable environment is indispensable for investment, trade, and economic growth. I therefore propose 252.1 billion for defense, 144.7 billion for the National Police Service, 64 billion for the National Intelligence Service, 63.9 billion for the National Security.
Pause that, Joey. So what you see, so this same scam they use in Europe, this is a laundering money scam, because the police in Kenya don't make any money, live in poverty. The military and Kenya don't make any money, they live in poverty. So where's all this money going to? See, this is money laundering. It's going to a few black morons and white people. This is money laundering because the police don't make any money in Kenya. They won't even do their fucking job unless you pay them. And that's illegal. What are you talking about? The government pays you. So they won't, so they don't even get paid any money. So the question is, again, in this budget, where's the money going to? Because it's not going to the police for salary, because they're all corrupt. They take bribes. They're all corrupt. So this is a money laundering scam. I'm sure the Kenyans are going to say this already anyway, because they're smart now. It's money laundering because their police are impoverished. They don't do shit. I tell them to come do something. Well, you got to pay me. What do you mean? You get paid by the government. No, I don't. Well, see, so where's this money going? Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you very much.
It is a bold and ambitious security strategy, one that looks impressive on paper. However, there is a problem. And the problem is Kenya simply does not have that money. You see, the government intends to spend a record 4.84 trillion.
Where's the money coming from?
The Kenya Revenue Authority expects to collect only 3.6 trillion from an already stretched public.
I'm about to say your people are poor. Exactly. Your people are poor. So what are you doing? You haven't created any jobs. So where's this money coming? Are you going to take on debt? So that's the scam. Of course, see, I told you this money laundering for white people. See, this is how the scam works. Let me explain to you. They'll make Kenya take on debts, right? With shit that they don't need, budgets that they can't afford, so that money can be interest going back to white people. See, scam? That's what they do to all African countries. Why is Africa talking about a military budget that big? Who the fuck are they fighting? Kenya ain't never fought no fucking body. What are you talking about? All this money that you don't have. You haven't created an economy to get these taxes. So what are we talking about? And see, they're hoping that the Africans in Kenya are too stupid to know this. You haven't created an economy that's going to give you this amount of tax money. So you mean you're going to borrow it from white people so you can get high interest? Well, that's not even say white people. Let's say the J. You already know who's going. The cats with the motherfucking hats. So I'm going to borrow money from the cats for a non-existent military that I don't need with interest. As Joe said, with American dollars, I got to pay back with interest to keep white people, white J's rich and keep Africans impoverished. You understand this? So all of them have been put in power by the J's. That's why the J's are there, buying land to make sure they control the investment of taking over Kenya and the rest of Africa. Because everybody knows the J's run Africa. You didn't know that? Let me enlighten you. The J's run Africa. That's a known fact. I ain't got to hide. I ain't got to say it. Nobody knows it no more. They know it. They used to say, okay, what are you talking about? What you talking about? I'm talking about. J's run Africa. In the world, really, but Africa's their prized possession. And so, especially now they got with these stupid religions. But go ahead, Joe.
1 trillion hole that must be filled through borrowing and other sources. In simple terms, Kenya is installing a state-of-the-art national security system while swiping an empty credit card.
I propose 30.9 billion to the energy subsector, including 7.5 billion for the national grid system, 20.2 billion for rural electrification, and 3.2 billion for alternative energy technologies. These allocations expand access, lower costs, and promote sustainable growth. And I wish to add that a lot of energy projects will be financed through National Infrastructure Fund because they are commercially viable.
But the government says the increased funding will strengthen national security, modernize forces, and safeguard development projects. Many analysts are already asking, why such a massive boost in security spending at this time? With the 2027 general elections now coming into focus, analysts are likely to view the spending surge through a political lens. Because election periods have historically placed significant demands on the country's security apparatus, from intelligence gathering and border surveillance to maintaining public order and protecting critical infrastructure. And one of the most notable projects under the new spending plan is the creation of the Nairobi Metropolitan Police Unit, or NMPU. The specialized unit is expected to begin operations in July for the cooperation agreement between the national government and Nairobi City County. According to the government, the NMPU will focus on smart, enhanced visibility through increased patrols, improved interagency coordination, and the mandatory use of body cameras by officers. Officials say the unit is intended to strengthen responses to emerging security challenges while improving cooperation between law enforcement agencies and the public. And the initiative is also aimed at enhancing safety across Nairobi and its satellite towns, with authorities hoping to increase a more secure environment for residents, visitors, and investors. Ultimately, Kenya isn't preparing for any invasion by a foreign enemy. We are preparing for ourselves.
That's what I just said. I told the Kenyans are gonna understand that. That's what I just said. This is not even justified. They're not invading nobody. The Kenyans not at war. So you can't justify this military budget. It's a money laundering scam to give the Jays money from Kenyan people and keep them impoverished. Have them constantly paying these white people forever. It's a scam. It's wicked. Go ahead, Joby.
So I'm going to stop it at that, then share this other video as I get closer to winding up. This is explaining how Ruto is part of this corruption of course, always borrowing money from the IMF, the economic structure, and the protest.
Because IMF and World Bank, you have the final say. We don't have no say.
That was President Ruto pleading desperately at the Summit for a New Global Financing Pact, Paris 2023. These helpless cries were met by Kristalina Georgieva, the managing director of IMF. For the very first time, President Ruto was confronted by the true face of a monster 4 of his predecessors had wrestled with. After just 1 year in office, he wanted out of the IMF.
We want another organization of equals, where you have...
Of course we can't, because if you look at most of the African countries, the positions we're already in, it's too deep for us to just wake up one day and say we want to quit the IMF and the World Bank. We can, but the amount of corruption, unless you decide to do it like Ibrahim Traore, use your resources, repay this debt, and you walk freely, literally, from these organizations, but there's nothing you've done. You're still giving them access of your land, gold, and you want to say you want a different organization, and then opt to which one?
Us might say, because you pay as much as we do, because we also pay.
Fast forward to 2024.
I'm here to address you. You must go. Ruto must go.
Ruto must go. A chant that rocks the entire country.
This is what he's so scared of. He's scared of this, and that's why he's preparing the army, or literally. This is what he's so scared of. The masses, people are not scared of anything. They are willing to do anything possible to ensure Ruto doesn't come back. So he's also trying to prepare himself.
And somewhere in that anger, one name kept coming up, the IMF.
I'm pretty sure the finance bill wasn't proposed by Ruto. It was proposed by the IMF.
It goes back to what Dr. Mombi talked about, because the video Keith is talking about, I also saw it in the morning. She said the same thing, this is not, and people know, because all these proposed taxes, like what the hell is this? What are we getting ourselves into if it's not part of the agenda that is set up globally? If we're not really trying to comply with how the system wants us to comply.
Blamed as the invisible hand behind the tax hikes, the austerity, and the rising pressure on ordinary citizens. But here's the strange part. As the protest filled the streets, as anger turned towards parliament, the IMF remained distant, untouched, almost abstract. So what exactly is IMF's role in Kenya? How does an institution thousands of kilometers away end up influencing the price of food, fuel, and survival? I went looking for answers, and what I found goes back 60 years. Let's start with something familiar, a circle. Members contribute every month. Money is pooled. When you need help, you borrow. When you want to grow, you borrow. And because it's your circle, you're not just a borrower, you are an owner. Now zoom out. Imagine a circle, but for countries. That's the International Monetary Fund. 190 member countries, one global pool, and where there's trouble, a country borrows. So far, it sounds the same, but here's the difference. Power. In a circle, members are mostly equal. At the IMF, power depends on how much money you put in. The United States hold more voting power than the entire continent of Africa combined, and every loan comes with a condition. A circle loan, you borrow, you repay. An IMF loan comes with conditions. Cut spending, increase taxes, remove subsidies. Those conditions tell you everything about what the IMF actually is. It's not a partner, it's a creditor, and it will recover its money even if impoverishing the people is the consequence. Kenya joined in 1964, 1 year after independence. For 15 years, the relationship was quiet. Kenya was growing. Coffee prices were strong. The IMF was a distant safety net nobody thought they would need. Then Tehran happened. Tehran, 1979. The Iranian Revolution topples a government. And thousands of miles away, in a country that had nothing to do with Persian politics, Kenya's fate was quietly changed. The aftermath triggered a massive global oil shortage.
Lines were completely around the corner. I'm in the line 2 hours and I can't get gas. This is baloney.
In the 1970s, Americans experienced an energy crisis. It had a big impact on people.
Prices doubled almost overnight. For a country that imported nearly every drop of fuel it used, this was not an inconvenience. This was a body blow. Moi had inherited a stable economy, but global forces were pulling it apart. Oil prices up, exports earning up, debt rising, and a president making promises that the budget couldn't keep up. Under President Dalian Arap Moi, barely 1 year in office, the state was expanding. New projects, new promises, new political expectations across a country that had just changed its hands for the very first time since independence. And many of those promises were not in the budget. At rallies across the country, commitments were made in real time. A school here, a road there, a hospital somewhere else. Treasury officials were present, not to advise, not to approve, but to take notes, because every promise at the microphone will eventually need funding. Revenue couldn't keep up with that spending. Coffee and tea prices, Kenya's lifeline, had collapsed. Debt was rising and corruption was quietly draining what remained. So Kenya did what countries in that position do. It called the only lender that would answer, the IMF. And the IMF had a ready solution. It always does. Structural adjustment programs. Cut public spending, privatize, remove subsidies, open markets. On paper, sensible economics. A country spending more than what it earns needs to adjust. But those cuts had to come from somewhere. And they always came from the same two places, healthcare and education. Not because they were wasteful, but because they were large. Cut them and the spreadsheet looks better, fast. No currency crisis, no market collapse, just quieter suffering, spread across millions of people who had no lobby in Washington. User fees were introduced in public hospitals. What had once been a public good now came with a price at the door. Families were expected to pay for books, for facilities, for the basic right of a child to sit in a classroom. The numbers stabilized, the indicators improved, and the people got poorer. Every decimal point of deficit reduction had a human address. A family in Kisumu, a child in Eldoret, a mother in Mathare who had stopped going to the clinic because she couldn't afford the fee they introduced to make the budget look cleaner. And from this moment, the relationship between Kenya and IMF will never just be about economics again. It will become political. August 1st, 1982. It's a Tuesday morning. Kenyans wake up to something they had never had before.
There should be no movement in town. The government has now been taken over by the military until further notice.
Rebel soldiers on the radio announcing the government had been overthrown. The coup attempt lasts less than 12 hours.
Yale yaliyotokea leo asubuhi sasa imeangamizwa na jeshi.
Moi's government survives, but over 100 people are killed. Shops looted. The University of Nairobi is shut down. Hundreds arrested. The official explanation, a disgruntled Air Force faction, a poorly planned rebellion. But zoom out. Look at what was happening in the streets before that morning. Maize subsidies had been removed. One of the very first IMF conditions. Within 6 months, the price of unga jumped 40%. In a country where maize is not a side dish, but the daily survival staple, that wasn't inflation. That was hunger-made policy. The coup attempt didn't come from nowhere. It came from society under pressure. Economic pressure, IMF pressure, packaged as reform, felt as punishment. Moi survived, but he had seen something. The IMF conditions weren't just unpopular. They were very dangerous. They created a kind of desperation that put soldiers in radio stations, and yet he had no choice but to keep signing. The cycle continued. July 7th, 1990, Sabasaba. Activists attempted to hold a rally at Kamukunji grounds, demanding multi-party democracy. The government banned it. People showed up anyway. 20 protesters killed. Over 1,000 arrested. Among those detained, Kenneth Matiba and Charles Rubia, held without trial. Sabasaba became a symbol, a debt that would echo generations. In 1990, then 2024, then July 2025, when it happened again. Different decades, the same unresolved pressure. By the early 1990s, the relationship had changed in a way nobody anticipated. The Cold War was ending, global priorities shifting, and the IMF was no longer just pushing balance sheets. It was now linking financial support to governance. In plain language, it wanted democracy. For years, Kenya had been a one-party state. KANU, Moi, unchallenged. By 1990, that was no longer acceptable to its international lenders. Aid was frozen, loans delayed, reform politically or lose access to funding. Was this purely external pressure? No. Was it purely internal? Also no, it was a convergence. The pro-democracy movement that Sabasaba had electrified, meeting international financial leverage at the exact same door. And here is where the story gets complicated, because when political space was opening up, economic pressure didn't ease, it intensified. The next phase had one word at the center: privatization. State companies, once protected, locally anchored, were told to compete in open markets or be sold. Tariffs lowered, import restrictions reduced. Let the market decide what survives. But the markets decided things nobody had voted for. Take the textile industry, for example. Factories employing thousands in Kisumu, in Thika, in Eldoret. Then markets opened, suddenly competing with mitumba. Second-hand clothes at prices no local manufacturer could match. One by one, factories slowed. They went quiet. They shut. The same pattern, paper, sugar, refining. Some sold to well-connected buyers at prices that raised questions nobody
See this effect today. Oh my God.
ever wanted to answer. Some collapsed entirely. Some never came back. To supporters, necessary medicine. Inefficient systems cleared out. To the workers, it was abandonment. The country opened up, not for their benefits, but for someone else. Necessary reforms and harmful implementations can coexist. And in Kenya's case, they did, consistently, across decades. The questions being asked on the streets in 2024 were not new. Kenyans had been asking these questions since the 1980s.
Ruto was sworn in as Kenya's fifth post-independence president.
New president,
William Samoei Ruto.
same room, same institution, same power dynamics. William Ruto elected on a Hustler Nation platform.
I want to thank God because a village boy has become the president of Kenya.
In Paris, pleading for a better deal.
Level where even countries like Kenya pay. We do not want anything for free.
The IMF listens politely, and then the conditions remain.
We want those resources controlled not by IMF and World Bank. Because IMF and World Bank, you have the final say. We don't have no say.
Back home, the finance bill was drafted. New taxes on bread, on cooking oil, on sanitary pads, on mobile money transfer, millions used because they don't have bank accounts. The bill had Nairobi's signature on it, but its logic was written somewhere else. A generation that had never lived through Sabasaba, never watched a factory close, never felt the first oil shock, took to the streets anyway, because the pressure their parents and grandparents absorbed for decades had compounded, and it had finally found them. The parliament was stormed. The bill was withdrawn.
2024 finance bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn.
Ruto survived, barely. And through it all, one building in the city remained untouched. No crowds, no placards, no broken windows. A quiet office in Upper Hill, the IMF's office in Kenya. Staff who went home safely every evening. Not because the institution bears no responsibility, but because 4 decades of economic pain had never come with a face most people knew. It came through budget lines, through finance bills, through presidents who signed things in rooms ordinary Kenyans were never invited to. This is how I
keep bringing these white people and they understand the positive. They understand this is like a guy. This makes sure white people can always live off of what you take. Stuff never works, so it's a scam. Man, whites, parasite off there. What you can hear me?
You're breaking. Come again.
It's to make sure that, right? So I mean, it's to make sure that they can constantly keep parasiting off you, right? That's what these systems were designed to do, to make sure make sure people would always be able to parasite off of you. So these taxes is to capture a person, and then have you constantly pay these interest rates, Joey, so you never get out of them. So it's to make you keep paying more for stuff you never got. So it's parasitical. It's to make sure they stay rich off of your back. You stay impoverished while you make them comfortable and rich by them never doing nothing. So this is the system of banking that they designed globally. It's even worse in Africa.
Not visibly, but consistently across Kenyatta, Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, and now Ruto. 5 presidents, 1 institution. Always present, always conditioning, always somehow still odd. The protests of 2024 were the loudest Kenya has ever had in generations. Young, connected, fearless. But until the anger finds the right address, the cycle will just
continue. Exactly. But as we come to the end of today's conversation, let me go to the comments. Man, I can't wait just for next year and see where the country is going to be and the decision we're going to make. If we want this guy to come back as a president, or we're in for complete revolution.
It's not. Hold on, Joey. It's not him. Because remember, this has been happening over. It's not him. He's just the new puppet. He's just the latest puppet. But this has been happening since Jomo Kenyatta. This is all set up. Every president. So it's not under Ruto. Ruto is just the extension. He's put more fire to the flame, but it's not him. He's working on the system that put him there. Uhuru, all of them. They're all the same, Joby. It's the system. So, like I said, who have you guys decided to replace them that's outside the system? That's the question you got to ask, because you can't put the same people who are already going to be involved in that same system. That's why it has to be what? Revolution. You can't put the same people in, because it's the system. Because it's not him. He's only doing what the system told him to do. They didn't want to put him in there. So you have to get rid of the system. That's why America can't be salvaged. It's gonna have it, and they know it, man. A lot of people. It's got to be a revolution here. It's too corrupt now. The Jays control everything now, and that's what everybody knows. There's no gaslighting. There's no more take you off social media for telling the truth. There's no more anti-Semitic. Everybody knows the Jays run everything in America. They destroyed the country. That's known. So there's no more that gaslighting shit don't work. So the only way this country can be savaged is to have revolution.
As we wind up, Shat Weapon has been with us this morning. K. Williams, thank you. Jibba Real Constrictor, John Mosquito. I see Jibba was saying that more money does not equal effective results. I do agree. And the John Mosquito says the West has organized corruption. Africa has unorganized. Oh, the West has organized corruption. Africa has unorganized corruption. I agree with that too. Adding that exact same political system used in Europe is what they're using in Africa, so they can manipulate the politics. Fact. And adding also, I see Drama says pretty much like us in the West, we buy everything on credit, and saying that there are so many shops in the West that sells brand new cheap clothes, yet still send second-hand clothes. Imagine. And adding that, I'm sure he meant to say, I will boots. Literally, there's nothing. Ruto is going to go home, so he's going to. We are the majority, so I do believe we're gonna call the shots. And the fact that we understand who the enemy is and how he's allowing the enemies to come in our country, next year is the solution to the end of this regime. But that has been my time. Thank you to everyone who's been with us this morning. Kindly subscribe before you leave if you're new here. And you can download our app on the Google Play Store. You can also find us on Amazon Roku TV. If in case you're home, you can catch up with all the conversations and do support us in any sort of way you can. We have an active Cash App and a donation page as well on the app itself. But with that being said, have yourselves a beautiful rest part of your morning.
Donations, guys. I need them. Don't be shy with the donations, damn it. I'm broke.